Bliss and power every single freaking hour. Yeah, what's up, family? What's up, loves? What's up, top tier individuals? Genghis Kwan on the scene again. Aunt Bishop. Just want to show a little love today. Release some more blessings out into the world through my vibration, through my frequency, through my voice, through my energy. And I had some information. I just wanted to talk on some stuff. It was really, and this message is going to be embracing your shadows, embracing your shadows while living your life, while living your light, embracing your shadows while living your light. Bliss and power, bliss and power. Yeah. So I've been blessed to live a pretty extraordinary life thus far, and it keeps getting better and better every day. Keeps getting better and better every day. And been blessed as every man who gets the opportunity. So my dirty place kind of need to clean up, man. If I'm clean up now, watch me clean up. But I also talk. So lived a pretty extraordinary life thus far. It keeps getting better. Keeps getting more awesome. And what is important is that, well, let me just speak about what happened. So I've been blessed to have great relationships that didn't always ideally line up how I wanted them to, but they lined up in a space that promoted the most growth. Certainly for me, and I would hope for them as well. But so I like to use a lot of references as I'm trying to understand my relationships, understand what was gained, understand how I've grown, and understand why to the best that I can, understand why the connection is there. So relationships go how they go. They're filled with love. They're fantastic, and then they go how they go, and they kind of dissolve and wither away. And sometimes you're left with a lot of pain that you have to begin to try to transmute. And this is a big part about people's lives, because rather than transmute their own pain, they'll start to project their pain. They'll project the energy. They'll project the inadequacy. They'll sometimes ingest all of that as well. But it's usually much easier to just project it on and say, oh, well, this person blah, 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 and that person blah, blah, blah. Rather than to be like, well, you know what? It's okay. It was a great time while we had that great time. And this is how I was able to grow in relating to this individual who I was kicking it with, who I was grown with, who I was flowing with. And now we're not growing and flowing anymore. And now we're in our own spaces. It's a lot harder to do that, but that's really the most ideal to be done. So I've moved around a lot. I've lived all over the country, traveled all over the world. And so when I've had relationships that maybe didn't go as ideal as I would have liked them to, I've rarely had the chance to run back into that individual because I've done a lot of moving and stuff. So there's a certain type of feeling that you can get whenever you come across somebody that you used to vibe with or whatever, and then you don't vibe, and then you meet this person again. And that's a big encountering of your shadow. Not necessarily saying that there's something wrong with this person and they are a shadow or whatever. It's just the fact that this is the kind of the past. It's not an area in your life where you're really shining light anymore like that. But so it becomes like a shadow. It's a past experiences that sometimes people try to bury, just to continue to move on with some type of sanity. And what happened was yesterday, by a wild chance of events, I ran back into a shadow. Someone that I really flowed with and vibed with, reasonably well. We were in complete alignment in a lot of things, but we were in alignment to encounter each other and appreciate each other for a time period. I was in their world when they had some deep situations happen. And I think I'll forever be a part of a certain season of that life. And so it's an important encounter to have when you run back into your shadows, when you run into your shadows, because you get to identify whether you have actually grown in your heart space or not. So whenever I seen this person, it was kind of like surprising because I caught them from a glance, and then it was like, wait a minute, like I know those angles. I know that face. I've, been all over her body. You know what I mean? Seen her whole body. So it was like, I know that face, that angle. I know that's such and such. I kind of knew it pretty quick. Like, wait a minute, that's such and such. But I didn't go and zoom in, and I didn't confront. I just was like, that's such and such. So I'm kicking it, talking to my peoples, whatever, chatting what we need to chat about, and then eventually I see, and then somebody else that I was chatting with, they decided to make their way over there and talk to the other person that was with with my shadow, we'll say. A shadow aspect of myself. I don't want to call it my shadow. I don't want to be disrespectful to them or even to me. But yeah, so we went over there and started talking. So I had a mask on. I was completely covered up, and I also had a mask on. So I don't think that they was able to really like see me, but you could still see my eyes. You could still see my nose, but you could just really see my eyes. So I don't think they was able to see me, but I knew they were pretty clear. They were covered up too, but I could still see it. So I was tripping like, damn, no, that's them for sure. And I didn't feel any type of malice. It was kind of like, okay, well, that's what's up. I'm happy that you're amongst the living, I'm happy that you still have some sanity about you. It seems you're interacting, you're talking to folks, and you're at a workspace getting your numbers right. Not ideal for you, I would say, to a degree, because, I feel like some of the most successful women who have succeeded, I would say, I'll say it like this. Women that have succeeded in achieving divine feminine and that have moved into the higher space of feminine energy, the higher space of being a woman, typically you're not going to be in the workspace. You're not going to be doing a 9 to 5. Certainly not my woman. My woman is somebody that I want to build an empire with, somebody that I want at the home front. She could be out actually, moving and shaking with me as we handling business, but I don't want her to necessarily be in a work environment like a 9 to 5 in a warehouse setting, because we should be building an empire. I should have the vision, I have the plans, I have the coordination, and and you being the woman are going to integrate my vision into being reality. So if I have to go to a space, have to handle business, have to do some work stuff, get more capital, however I need to get it, I can bring that capital back to the home space, and you can continue nurturing those resources and that capital to continue to manifest in our vision. My vision, which has become our vision, which is a vision that's cohesive and complementary to both of what our individual dreams are. So a woman in her most ideal space is in achieving divine feminine, particularly in most cases, unless she has a certain type of path, which is fine too. But in most cases, a divine feminine woman is really going to be that woman who can attract her ideal mate or mates and is able to take the vision and start to find ways to increase the resources, increase what is given through the resources, and magnetize the vision into actuality, into reality. So that's not what I'm seeing with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a knock on her, not a mock on her, but that's something that she's having to work on anyway. That's why I was there. But it got tense to a point because a lot of people aren't really ready for like the magnitude of energy that I bring, because I'm somebody who is really dialed in, really, really locked in. I've been on this path and I've been dialed in, and I remove distractions and potential distractions and hindrances into my world. I know that everything happens for a reason, so I don't just push away just because or whatever. I observe and find out if it's in alignment with me, because I continue to live a life of prayer and meditation. So it's always about alignment and fulfillment in my space. It's always about sharing love and compassion and growing with people in my space. So it went how it needed to go, but it was cool because now whenever initially, at full clarity, whenever we initially went our separate ways, I was definitely hurt. And I had to grow through that pain. You know what I mean? And I grew through that pain. I really grew through that pain, and I think I became much more of a divine masculine polarity, whereas I would say before I was still much more of a of an androgynous type still, even though I still was in my masculine energy. It was still more so like, I would say maybe like 65, 35, I would say. Maybe like 65, 35. Like 65 masculine, 35 feminine balance, you know. Now I'm more so, I would say like, I'm at this probably like 80-20 now. You know what I mean? Probably like 80-20. So I've really grown in my divine masculine energy. I've really grown in the presence that I carry, and the space that I hold, and being a masculine presence, and being a voice of reason, a voice of inspiration, a voice of logic, but also still a voice of compassion and creativity as well. You know what I mean? So it's but I definitely had to tailor, and really not necessarily had to start to embody and ground in more compassionate and loving emotions for myself. You know what I mean? And really start to devote more self-love time in the physical capacity, and in my focus, and not choosing to build, and not pouring in as much as I would before, you know what I mean, and really cater to whatever woman was in my world, whatever goddess I chose to really focus on. I really kind of just took some energy back from that and started to really just pour that more into me, so I can be much more grounded even in relationships, you know what I mean, and not lose myself in that flow, you know what I mean. So and that was important. That was an important test for me. You know what I mean? I was going to keep on running into that test until I really got dialed in on that. And I think it can be viewed as like I've gotten a little more colder, but it's not necessarily cold. Like I said, it's just much more pouring into me, and staying grounded within me, and not allowing someone to not necessarily manipulate my emotions, but not allowing someone to even allow me to be ungrounded in my emotions because of how much emotions I have given, you know what I mean? And so now I'm not able to be manipulated by the exchanges or the dynamics of our relationship as much as I used to be able to. Because some people will use that manipulation, and once they find out they have it, they will try to use it to their advantage. And you'll find out that you'll be living in a home with somebody who is playing, adversarial against you, sad to say, but this is what happens all the time. And a lot of men end up losing this kind of silent battle, and then end up being subtly dominated by their woman, And I just see it because that's why so many men who are not actually happily married, you know what I mean? It's like, because your emotional space is not even being cared about anymore. Matter of fact, she took that from you and justified why you shouldn't even have those types of emotions. And now you're being emotionally led by a woman who is an emotional tyrant, because she's telling you that you can't even have the full expression of how you feel. And that's not something that I'm going to allow ever. No woman, nobody is going to tell me how I should feel about my life, going to tell me how I should feel in the moment. They can give me suggestions if I even allow that, But I'm always open. But it's just the fact that you're going to allow me the space to and you're going to understand how I feel before you try to dictate how I feel, right? So this is an important step in when you're going into divine masculine, because, when we choose our woman, she's literally like the emotional encapsulation of who we are if we choose properly, you know what I mean? And if she stays on that type of line, that type of vibrational line, and not go off the deep end, not go off the rails on her own accord, you know what I mean? She'll encapsulate and she'll hold an emotional space that resonates with us in the best way, so that way we're able to continue our vision, we're able to dial in and lock in and bring and go and get that information, go get that knowledge, go get those resources, go and make those connections so that we can build our empire, you know what I mean? But she's holding the emotional fort for us so that we can spiritually go and do, and be, and more so do. She can be, she's going to embody, but we need to be able to do and allow that beingness to be grounded in our home front. So when we have to go out here and make these adjustments and have these interactions, we can come home and we can be engulfed in our castle by the embodiment of our vibration, because our woman has held that space for us, and unfortunately, that doesn't happen always, and you'll find yourself, like I said, being manipulated or whatever, or you found that you dialed in once the leverage kind of started to shift because you made commitments or you've had children or whatever. Now you start to see some of um, now the opportunity has been given to potentially emotionally manipulate based off of the leverage kind of shifting through what we call quote unquote marriage, union, or like I said, having a child, or even sometimes just moving in with a woman. You get to start to see some of the different dynamics when you start to share space with someone, and when they feel like they have power. You get to see sometimes who a woman really is, because you seeing a face that they're putting on sometimes, and men do it as well. I'm not saying, I'm just talking about women because I've seen women do this more than anything. So anyway, I've seen women do this quite a bit, and it's kind of wild. Like they'll put on this whole show and this whole face until they get the ring, until they get in the home, and then they'll kind of start to just let all their guards down. They start changing how often they're dressing up. They start changing how often they're cooking, how often y'all get to make love. You know what I mean? How often she's actually like moving forward with the plans and moving, sticking to the script like you laid out before y'all got married. Those things start to adjust because now she's satisfied, especially once a child is coming to the space. Now it's like it's 2 against 1 sometimes, and the silent one is still part of part of the 2. You know what I mean? So it's like you end up just running into a lot of situations, truth be told, as men, and so that's about to go into something else. But anyway, what I wanted to speak on, like I'm saying, what I'm speaking on is the fact that I was blessed to be able to handle that encounter very well. I didn't formally reintroduce myself to this person, and I thought about like later, like, man, that's probably what I should have did, But I feel like they was able to see my eyes, and kind of see who I am. And then I made sure that I kind of stood in the space where they could see me once they were talking to somebody else and they came back around. So they kind of saw me. And if they didn't see me, it's okay. I'm not really tripping on that. What I am proud of is that I don't have any malice in my heart, and I was able to kind of see and feel that when I seen them. Because it was more so like, oh wow, it wasn't like that much, It was like, wow, okay, that's what's up. Well, I see they're alive and well. They still look, the same, relatively the same. Don't look bad, Don't look as good as I look. Don't look as good as I look, haven't grown as much as I have. No, I'm just playing. But I still look great, I keep looking better and better. But anyway, it was a blessing to see them, and I didn't hold any malice towards them. So that was really good. That was a great test. It was even, some care and some resonance there. Like, you know what, I've been wishing them the best, I've been hoping they're the best. I wanted to see them again because I wondered how they were doing. And I could tell they're alive and well, and may they be blessed, continue to be blessed, I would like to see them again. I would like to encounter them again. I would like to have a dialogue. I don't know how that dialogue will go, I always wondered about that, did they really see me? Did they really understand who I was when I was there? Did they understand who I was after I left, That's just, to be determined, but what I can say for sure, is that there wasn't any malice there. You know what I mean? It was real appreciation for the time. It was great seeing them, and yeah, it was cool to just be like, oh wow, okay, that's crazy. Of all places, I ended up running into you again. You know what I mean? I ran into you up here, where I'm now at 6 figures a year. You know what I mean? I'm at 6 figures, so it's kind of a different ballgame. Actually, I was making 6 figures last time I met them. I took some steps back, and ended up doing some work with my brother, like some real good charging. I was able to charge him up. He was able to charge me up. As far as like our brotherhood getting more solid and more profound in appreciating the depths and the levels that we've been able to achieve in our own individual worlds. We live in 2 different types of worlds for sure, but it's still like we both was able to really like see each other and be like, oh, okay, that's what's up. So that's why you're a master of your world. You know what I mean? At least I know there's always some competition amongst a lot of men, and they typically do not compare, but they often try to find things they can compete with, and then they find out there's no competition. So now it's like it's appreciation, because it's like, yeah, I don't look necessarily like somebody who can be intimidating, but I am, you know what I mean? Because of the power that I hold within me. It's not because I'm I'm a badass type of, you know what I mean? I like to fucking, brawl and shit like that, like a tough guy shit. It's like, nah, I really put in work to continue to grow my self-awareness, and I had the courage to put myself in different situations to experience how I would react in those situations, and I consistently grown and leveled up by God's grace, by the grace of the Supreme Being. So, yeah, it was a blessing to have that experience with my brother. And it was a blessing to be able to just experience that with old girl, and know that in my heart, it's compassion. It's forever love in my heart. If I deal with you before, it's still love in there. It's still love and care for you, and I wish you the best. You can even come back into my world to a degree. Plenty of women have tried. I wasn't open to it then. I can say I'm much more open to it now. You don't get to back necessarily into that same space because of how I've grown, and now what I know about what I desire, because I really am built for like multiple wives. You know what I mean? Like I'm on that type of time because I need to know and understand how committed this woman is to building an empire and putting her pride aside and really loving someone else because they love me, you know what I mean? And loving who else is in my world, you know what I mean? Don't come into my world. This is the problem I had with my last relationship, and I'll talk about that another time. But don't come into me. If you love me and care about me, and don't try to come into my world and dictate and tell me who I should interact with and how I should talk to. But like, don't do that to a grown man. You don't get to do that to me. You don't get to tell me that. And I can hold myself accountable and know what I'm putting out and know what I'm doing. And know that I'm not giving somebody else the same thing that I give you. Because especially if I'm with you, you getting a whole magnitude of care. And that's what I'm going to make sure of, because I chose you to build with. I knew this person, you know what I'm saying? So that's all that type of thing. But anyway, embracing the shadows, your shadows, and with light is a challenge that not everybody is able to overcome. But I'm blessed to be able to overcome it, conquer it, still give blessings, still give love, still give reverence for the time and opportunity, and continue to live my love. You know what I mean? So I was really thankful for that. So anyway, the lesson here is continue to live your love, continue to live your passion, continue to grow yourself. Don't hold malice at people because they choose to make decisions based off how they feel energetically. You know what I mean? Like, don't even hold the malice. It's usually in your best interest. It usually works out. It always works in your favor. It always works in your favor, whether you can really see it now or not. You just have this. But the main thing is, are you continually being aligned with your soul's purpose? Because if you are in a divine alignment, make no mistake, it will always come back around and work in your favor. You just have to make sure that you're taking that time, checking in with yourself, dialing in with yourself, using your discernment tools to be able to make sure that you're on your life's path, that you're on your journey for growth in every level, you know what I mean? And not being swayed through emotional disturbances and through shadows of the past, whether they be in your memory or whether you encounter them in the physical. Don't allow the shadows of the past to tear you apart, to make you not appreciate who you are and what you've done. You know who you are, you know what you've done, and you know whether you've been actually treating people with intentions of care, or if you've been trying to use people up. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody is as innocent as they try to sound. You know what I mean? Like, because people know when they've been doing something slick. You know what I mean? They've been doing some shadiness too. And it's unfortunate. Like, people will try. You know what you've done, and nobody can judge you. But make sure that you are actually moving in those ways that you know you should be moving. Move in the way that you would move if you had the Supreme Being walking right beside you at all times. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still have fun, have a great time. I'm not saying that you need to be perfect. I'm saying that you need to move with integrity. You need to move with care. You need to move with intentions. You need to move with purpose, and you need to make your next move your best move, And you don't need to try to, just because you have the opportunity to do something adverse to someone, to do something that could put you up and put somebody else down, just because you have the opportunity to do that, does not mean that you should do it. And it does not mean that you will win in the long run. It does not mean that you will even win in the short term. Sometimes you need to bypass those opportunities to showcase grace, to showcase compassion, to showcase a higher level, higher dimensional level of understanding, so that way you can allow your blessings to come from from the invisible realm, not from you having seen an opportunity to manipulate the situation in your favor when somebody else is going to be adversely affected. Those aren't wins. Wins are win-win across the board. So sometimes that means skipping over those opportunities where you would only win and they would lose, skipping over those so that you can wait for the ideal win-win. And sometimes that'll be orchestrated. I mean, almost every time it'll be orchestrated by the invisible realm for you, if you have those intentions, if you're moving with that type of energy, if you're willing to make those type of sacrifices, quote unquote, when those opportunities come. Because it'll feel like a sacrifice. Oh, I could have did this because I had the opportunity to do this. Yeah, but what's going to happen is something greater is going to even come down the line, because I didn't take this. I didn't do this. I wanted to create a win-win. In fact, I even took kind of an L so that somebody else can win for a time period. I'm going to win, and I'm going to continue to level up. But this right here, I know that they're not necessarily going to be able to get this blessing, get this opportunity from no one else. So I can create the space where I don't trample on somebody who is moving in a certain type of way. I could just allow them to do what they're doing and make it feel like they won. It's okay. You can win. I'm gonna also win too, and it's gonna be. I'm ensuring that I win because of how I handle this situation, how I continue to handle situations, because I move in the best interest of everybody involved. So in turn, because I'm putting these seeds out, I'm going to be rewarded. I'm going to be gifted. I'm going to be given divine luck and divine fortune, and it's going to benefit everybody involved, because that's how I move. That's how I move in my life. So I deserve the resources. I deserve the millionaire opportunities. I deserve all those things that I desire, because I'm going to use those resources in the best way for everybody involved in my life and for the people that choose to come into my life. And I don't forget people that I've had in my past. So I'm always like still thinking about some of those dreams and some of those plans and some of those movements, and wishing them the best. And some folks I'll go back and break bread with when that time is right, and we can put more things into fruition. But the main thing is removing that malice from your heart, removing that malice from your space, so that you can continue to allow love to flow through your life. You continue to be a blessing to other people. You continue to be blessed by other people. You continue to be a blessing to yourself, and people will feel that energy from you, and they will appreciate that energy, And that's really what it's all about, is embodying this Christ beingness, embodying this Christ consciousness, and not just looking at somebody else for an example, and not just talking it, but living it, when the opportunity arises, So, yeah, I just wanted to send that love out, send that blessings out. I want to send prayers to your family. I want to send grace, blessings, abundance to your family. May you continue to receive opportunities to grow and level up. May you receive those opportunities. May you see those opportunities in clarity when they come into you. May your body be blessed on every level. May your mental space be blessed. May your emotional space be blessed and optimized. May your physical space and physical body be blessed and optimized. May your associates be blessed. May your coworkers be blessed. May your home environment be blessed. May every step that you take be blessed. May every blink be blessed in your life and optimize your life. May every hair follicle be optimized and blessed. May every cell in your body be optimized and blessed in your life. May every gene be turned on and activated that needs to be activated to allow you to level up to the best version of yourself. May your ancestors be blessed. May your descendants be blessed. May your business be blessed. May your vehicle be blessed. May your mind-body vehicle be blessed. May your light body be activated. May your endocrine system be blessed. May your nervous system be blessed. May your muscular system be blessed. May your skeletal system be blessed. May your digestive system be blessed. May your respiratory system be blessed. May your endocrine system be blessed. May your lymphatic system be blessed and optimized. All these systems be optimized and blessed. May you have the best intentions. May you have the best dreams. May you be able to create the best creations that you've ever created before. I send you those prayers. I send you those blessings. Thank you, multimillionaires. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you. Thank you for hearing me out. If you listen this far, I send you the deepest love. I send you the deepest love. May you continue to flourish. May you continue to be phenomenal. May you continue to be grounded in your greatness. Thank you. Keep committed to your great. Bye for now, but not for long. I love you and I appreciate you. Keep shining, keep growing. You got this. I love you. Thank you.